Good morning, everyone. Jeremy here, just on my way to Disney University. First morning. And right there is the backside of Space Mountain. So cool. It is my last day at Disney University. Well, that was one heck of an experience. I just finished my 3 days at Disney University, and now the next step is next week I go to my actual park for training in my department. But I definitely have a lot to unpack mentally and a lot of thoughts on everything. Well, now that I am home and I am done with my 3 days at Disney University, I can finally relax. I was planning on doing a video after my first day at Disney University, but I was beyond exhausted. My brain was fried from anxiety, lack of sleep, and just absolute pure joy. My first day at Disney University was actually a little rough. You can't really see it when I showed earlier in the video, probably because I had sunglasses on, but I was absolutely sleep deprived and absolutely exhausted. The pressure in my temples from not sleeping the night before, it was really brutal. I just had so much anxiety from the standpoint of not knowing what to expect, being excited, and honestly nervous as well. And the day before was my closing on selling my house back in Colorado. Everything went great, but let's just say I just wanted to make sure a large sum of money was going in properly through a wire transfer. And I don't know, the coincidences of everything lining up, it's just crazy. My first day at Disney, every time I say Disney University, my brain wants to say Denver University because that's where I'm from, Colorado. That my first day at Disney University, I also got all of my money wired from the sale of my house back in Castle Rock. So it was a very, very highly emotional day from the standpoint I just got, I'll just say a large sum of money. And I was starting my training for Disney. So yeah, the night before, I really did not sleep. I mean, I remember laying in bed, my eyes closed, and just thinking, well, at least I'm resting, but I wasn't getting the REM, rapid eye movement. So you're not getting that deep sleep, that rejuvenation that your body and your brain needs. So I was pretty fried by the time I got to the Disney University in the morning. And I remember specifically just trying to keep a smile on, keep eye contact with the instructors. And what a day it was. But yeah, I was saying before, I was planning on doing a video talking about that first day. I was gonna go to Gideon's to get the cookie of the month, but I mean, I went home, I made myself a Sazerac, and I waited for Jill to get home. I can't remember what we did for dinner, but I pretty much ate and just passed out. I was done. I took a little sip of NyQuil because I was feeling really run down. And all I need is just if I use NyQuil, just a little bit, because that stuff hits me like a ton of bricks. And kind of the same thing happened night 2. I woke up at 2:30 and I had to wake up earlier. Basically, I'm kind of, I've been living in Colorado for 49 years, so I'm kind of still on Denver time a bit. And I had to wake up basically at 4:30 in the morning Denver time, so 6:30 in the morning, because day 2 and day 3 at there I go again. I want to say Denver University, Disney University started an hour earlier, and I did not want to be late. So, and also my phone, it just the ringer. It's if it rings, I might be able to hear it. It's kind of the same with an alarm clock. I have to have it relatively close to my head, which is not good. You're not supposed to sleep with your phone next to your head, radio waves and whatnot. So I was freaking out about, am I going to be able to hear it? Because I have to have a fan in my room, that like static noise. Otherwise, I can't sleep. So anyway, I'm fried right now. My brain is fried because it was the same thing last night. So just not the best sleep at all. But there I go again. Disney University. I keep wanting to say Denver University. Probably because it's like some of my old stomping grounds. When I first moved to Denver, DU was so close to a lot of my stomping grounds. So anyway, Disney University, the first day. I go in, and by the way, you're supposed to be dressed in business casual. You can wear jeans as long as they're clean and they're not ripped. A polo, a dress shirt, whatever. It says wear comfortable shoes because you might do some walking. I was dressed very nicely. I was actually wearing this shirt, polo, no hat. Had it tucked in with a belt, and I decided to wear a pair of my dress shoes, but they're Clarks, and they're very, very comfortable. So I was pretty positive about being able to walk a long distance if I needed to. But there were people dressed in like t-shirts, like Adidas, like across the across the shirt. Tennis shoes, and I saw a lot of stuff, and I'll get into that later. But you walk in, and there's just there's like one security right on the right. There was like a table with at least 4 people standing behind it, ready to intercept anyone that's coming in. Another person just to the left. So right when you walk in, you're greeted with all these people, and so friendly, asking what you're here for, and sending you to wherever. Basically, it was kind of day one traditions for a lot of people. So pretty much the cafeteria, which is directly to the left, was basically just filling up with people. And the energy was really high, and all these people here for the first time. Well, not necessarily. There were actually quite a bit of returning cast members. A lot of people like up there in the years. There was actually a lady in her 80s that has been with the company for quite a while, coming back to do customer service at the call center, which was really, really awesome. But go in, and they get everyone together, and there's people working QSR, like me, quick serve food, housekeeping, all kinds of stuff. And some people went here, some people went there, and we all go down this hall, and they're saying like no photography, no videos. It is absolutely forbidden. We start walking down this hall, and I like my Disney art. The walls are plastered with Disney art. I'm in this row of all these people going down these halls, and it just felt sacred. It really did. There was art on the left, art on the right, and I'm just like a kid in a candy store looking at everything. There's drop ceilings, like an office has, right? There's like Goofy is hanging out of one of them. Down this other hall, there's I'm pretty sure it was Donald. Like Donald Duck was hanging out of another one. So they really have fun with, the Disney theming there. So I'm geeking out. I'm thinking this is really cool. And we get to our big classroom, and it was a class of, I think it was exactly like 20 people that were in my class. And we had three female instructors, like different walks of life, this one, I cannot remember her name. She was such a sweetheart. She would literally reminded me, I'm not joking. She even had a purple, like her whole theming was purple, her dress and everything. She was like one of the fairy godmothers from is it Sleeping Beauty? Yeah, Sleeping Beauty. Just the warmest, coolest. Like, she belonged in Disney. Like, she was made to work at Disney. This other Danielle, incredible instructor, and this one Barbara from Brazil. Just these ladies were absolute rock stars in what they did there, as far as telling you everything you need to know about the company and the values, and the 5 keys. And oh geez, don't make me I try to remember them. My brain is so fried. I've taken in so much information, but it was very, very eye-opening. I will have to say that the level of professionalism and how do I say this? The emphasis on service to the guest service. Basically, as a cast member, your number one goal, the most important priority is to bring happiness to the guests. And the way that they convey this, it's not like, oh, we got to do this, so people come back and upsell and sell. Nothing like that at all. I was thoroughly, and at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest reasons. But they could not emphasize enough Walt's vision, and I had no idea what to expect going into this. I do know, Disney is definitely, a woker type of company, and I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'm a 49-year-old white guy, um, and who has, relatively conservative values, and I had no idea what to expect. I know I love old Disney stuff, and they seem to just worship and love what Walt did. We had to learn about the history. We were actually in the Walt room, which it was just plastered with all this, all these photographs and everything. You could walk around. They had plaques telling about, okay, this picture is from Walt Disney when he was here in Missouri, and like in LA, and it was very refreshing and surprising. I was so thrilled to see how high on a pedestal they still hold Walt. There were so many times, I'm not gonna lie, I was very choked up. We watched so many like short movies and videos, and the way that these ladies talked about everything, it was so refreshing. And quite honestly, within, well, let me just put it this way. By the end of the day, I knew I was home. Like, this is where I feel like I belong. I just loved all the values, that, the 5 keys. 5 keys are basically like kind of like the rules, or not the rules so much, but the foundation of operations, of like safety, being courtesy, inclusion, things like that. And it was just fantastic. I like I said, I'm really tired. I'm trying to kind of like remember everything, but these, like I said, these ladies, they were so incredible. And like Barbara, she was from Brazil. I really connected with her. She was a really special person, and she works in Epcot. And a lot of these ladies, they work, in different parks, and they do this, like these trainings like twice a month or so. And I was told just by at least three of the five instructors that I ended up, working with over the last 3 days, that it's such a great place for job advancement and moving up. And so I'm really stoked because there's so many different levels of operation, and I got to see stuff backstage, and it was so cool, so cool. And speaking of backstage, the way that I got to see it, the way they introduced, when I say they, these ladies, the way they introduced what we were going to do next was very fun, very playful, and like completely out of right field, or is it left field? Whatever the saying is, just completely out of the blue, basically. And in a nutshell, they're doing a little bit of banter back and forth. And where could we go to see how cast members, because we're all cast members, they talk about the whole, everything is a show, and everyone knows they're called cast members and whatnot, but they kind of break down why everything is called what it is, and we're all part of the show. But they were saying, like, where could we go to see how these cast members, they exhibit the five keys, uh, and one's like, you know basically, I'm not gonna go into it because I'm trying to keep this video short, but one of them just was like, hey, I know, why don't we go to Magic Kingdom? Do you guys want to go to Magic Kingdom? And it's like, I'm sitting there in the front of the class, and you know I'm like looking into their eyes, and it's like, holy cow, like they're serious, like we're going to Magic Kingdom. And quite honestly, we're like, I don't know, 1 mile. I don't know how close it is, but the Disney University is super close. It's just right behind Magic Kingdom. So sure enough, everyone want to go to Magic Kingdom. Everyone's like, yeah, and it's like, really, this is happening? So we all get up, and we go back out into the main hall, and we all have our own little headsets, and we can hear each instructor. Like X amount of people have access to hearing one of the instructors. I was with Barbara, and yeah, they basically were all just waiting, and they said, okay, the bus is ready for you. We go outside. It's one of the Disney buses, the Disney transportation. It's like, it even has the like the monologue going on. Usually a lot of them will have some narration going on with some like Disney music, and all of us went on a bus and we went backstage to Magic Kingdom. And again, they're re-emphasizing, like, no photography, no video recording, none. Like, this is serious, But pulling in, and like one of the first things I see, it was the backside of Carousel of Progress, and I'm just like I love movies. Love movies, like big time. I got a job at Soundtrack back in the day just so I could get discounts on home theater equipment. Like I've got some really awesome home theater equipment. Anyway, but I never kind of wanted to know the behind the scenes type of stuff, because I kind of want to, like, I don't know. I don't want that magic. Like, I don't want to think, yeah, it's just a movie, right? So I was never really that interested, quite honestly. It's probably shocking to a lot of people, but I was never really that interested in, like, the backstage parts of Disney. Like, I do want to know, but I don't want to know at the same time. Does that make sense? I'll tell you what, seeing the backstage part, when you have this, your name tag, like you're part of the show now. It was it was so magical. It was so, I had no idea I was going to feel that way. Like being around all these other cast members. Like we basically, where we came in was right when you go down Main Street, like first thing right before the confectionery, there's this, it's a doorway. It's a big doorway for like for parades and stuff. And we walk in on the other side of that door through another door, and there's like a baton parade getting ready to start, and they're like warming up, and we're like right there, and we go to this doorway. We can see all these people being, guests, and they can't really see us. And I'm just like, this is amazing. And these two cast members are waiting to open the door, these big doors, one person per side of the, one door. And they're waiting to hear the announcement from outside, like in Main Street. And the doors open, the baton, like, marchers come out, and it was so awesome. We all came out as a group kind of after them to out of this side door, and then we got to go under the train station, and at that point we could take pictures, and I do have some selfies that I took, and of course I go to Magic Kingdom a lot, but it was so magical. And then we went back in and went more backstage and ended up right next to Tomorrowland Terrace. And then from there, like, we walked over kind of like to the center point, like this green grassy area kind of right in front of Cinderella's castle. And then we went back over, walked over to Tomorrowland, and went backstage again, and then came out. I'm trying to remember everything, but like basically near the exit of Carousel of Progress. And then we all got to like split up and go check stuff out, like observe how cast members, basically how they're working, how they're interacting. It was so cool, getting paid to do that, and thinking, we're going to be part of the show. I mean, it was absolutely awesome. So yeah, I got to see a lot of the stuff backstage, and for Jeff, my buddy Jeff Adams, if you're watching, and yes, we did talk about good show and bad show. And that refers to anyone that's doesn't know what we're talking about. Jeff Adams, my buddy, he worked at Magic Kingdom. Well, I'm not sure if it was Magic Kingdom. He worked in Disney World, I know, somewhere in Disney World. Maybe it was Magic Kingdom years ago, I guess, when he was a teenager. So he was asking, hey, when you're in training, tell me if they're still talking about good show versus bad show. And that's basically like trash is bad show. I hate to say there's a lot of bad show, meaning breaking the magic of, basically the illusion of everything. Things being under construction, being able to see, construction going on, like, behind the big wall where the Rivers of America used to be. That would be considered a bad show. So anyway. But yeah, a lot of stuff I cannot quite, I gotta be really careful, like, what I share. I wish I could talk about everything that I saw, backstage and in training, but I can't. But it's cool. It's really cool. So then we got back to Disney University, and that's about the same time I think we got these. And it was like a big deal. You come up and you grab this. This is just a little ribbon that we had to put on the second day, earning my ears. It basically tells people when you're walking down the halls of the university, or if you're in the park on a tour, that you're basically in training still. So it was almost like a demotion getting that, but eventually my name tag will not have that any longer. But along with getting that, like we got some Mickey ears, which was pretty cool. Because I actually still have my first set. They're like falling apart from when I was 7 years old, if you can believe that. But yeah, we got back, and we're wrapping the day up. We've been just trying to absorb as much information that's being thrown at us, the importance of this and that, and how Disney does things. And like I said, it was a master class in customer service training. If you ever have, in my opinion, just from what I've seen so far, if you have a bad experience with someone in Disney parks or resorts or whatever, from what I've seen, it's not the training, it's the person. Because wow, they take it very seriously, and I was absolutely, thoroughly impressed and blown away. And then to wrap everything up at the end of day one, we had a special guest, and it was Mickey Mouse. And it was pretty cool because like people were, I don't want to say freaking out, but there were people that were there that were like really into Disney. And it's kind of wild. It's like when you're in the parks and you see the characters, they always have like what I always refer to them as handlers, kind of making sure that, someone doesn't come up and punch Mickey Mouse in the face or something like that. And they even had the two handlers, as I call them, come in with Mickey Mouse to make sure, I guess, like no one's gonna do anything stupid or bad. I was just kind of surprised, but they did. But got to, like, if you answered a question, you got a magnet, and I was actually the only person in class that got 2 magnets earlier in the day, and then I got one from Mickey Mouse himself. Which, by the way, there's only one Mickey Mouse. So at the end of the first day, when the class was done, everyone was basically told that we are here because we were selected. And they make you feel so lucky to be there, and they act like they are grateful that you are here. I personally thanked each one of these. I don't know what I'd call them, like an instructor, a facilitator, these ladies, I'll just say. I thanked each single one of them. And, we have like these codes, like if we see one another in the parks and we're in a situation where we can't say hi because maybe we're working or whatever, we have codes. It's pretty cool to basically say, hey, I worked with you, or I trained with you on some level. It's really cool. It was very emotional, and I'm not gonna lie, I really choked up when I was like saying thank you and my goodbyes to them. I don't think I've ever felt so grateful to be somewhere and be part of something. And on to day 2 and 3, pretty much exactly what I figured it was going to be. Much more heavy type of operational training, which it was. Day 2, everybody was like, I'm not joking, like tired, like falling asleep, probably because day 1 was such like an overload of emotion for probably a lot of people. But day 3 were the final exams. I got 100% on everything on the basically the food safety. I've been doing it for like 33 years, so it was honestly, it was a walk in the park for me. And then some alcohol training as far as serving, and I have a lot to say about some things that happen in that. Also, they also provided some shoes for crews, and let me talk about that. So you get to choose. It was like, I want to say like 6 or 7 different styles of shoes for crews, and I ended up going with I think the name of the shoe was Crosser, like a cross trainer. But shoes for cruise, I am so familiar with. Been wearing these for like forever, back in my Subway days. But they have a slip-resistant sole. The only thing that's bad about these is if you work in a kitchen with a lot of flour and grease, it actually gets stuck inside these little grooves. So you have to like bang your shoes out to get it out. Otherwise, they actually become slippery. But these things in normal kitchens, they're fantastic. I mean, they will save your neck if you're in a greasy situation. But anyway, yeah, we got our shoes. They were provided for us. And guess where we got those? At costuming. Holy cow. I wanted to pull my camera out or my phone and take pictures. If I could have had this camera right here. Hey, buddy. If I could have had my camera, it was amazing. Picture like a grocery store, like not like a giant Walmart or anything like that, but like your average, like a Publix. Picture a Publix, and hey, buddy. Every time I've tried to film in the apartment. Anyway, picture like a Publix, and it's these giant rows of uniforms, and it shows what uniforms, like on the end cap of these, like what's down there. And I got to see a little bit of a sneak peek of some upcoming ones for my favorite season, being Halloween. And I mean, I was like, this is so cool. It was awesome. It was awesome. And now to the bad part. Yeah, there's a bad part. With everything that's so awesome and so good about this experience, there has to be a bad, right? Unfortunately. I got to be really careful about what I say. I don't want to make any disparaging remarks. Regarding Disney, I have nothing disparaging to say except for the nicest way I can say this is considering how difficult it was and it is. I mean, I talked to so many people about how hard it is to get a job with Disney, unless like you're in the college program, but then again, I think, they can only accept so many people. So it is difficult to get a job with Disney. How do some of these people, how did they get a job? For the most part, the people in my class, for the most part, were excited to be there. I think there were a lot of people that were like into Disney lore and Disney, the parks, as much as me. But there were a handful, unbelievable. There were two girls that were texting on their phones. I'm pretty sure if the instructors would have seen it, they would have said something. But like, what? Like, you're getting all of this amazing like training. Number one, like world-class training in customer service. I've been in customer service like all my life, and like this training, there were aspects of stuff that I didn't even think about. Like, they know what they're doing when it comes to service. The amount of autonomy that we have to fix or correct a problem is staggering. The things that we can do, it's awesome. And the examples that I was given were like, wow. Like they do care about the guest. They really do. I know there's always going to be, circumstances where it probably doesn't seem like that, but I think as a whole, Disney really cares about their guests. But yeah, there were people, like I said, like coming to the training, not taking seriously whatsoever, how they're supposed to look, like the Disney look. I mean, that was a big thing in the emails, was like, make sure you're dressed accordingly, yada, yada. And it's like, yeah, so I was shocked. For the most part, most people were, but there were a few, like I said, that were definitely not. And then on their phones, this really happened. Day 2, this guy behind me in housekeeping, like there was like a all these tables, and it's like 4 to 5 people at a table. There was a guy behind me who he was snoring because he fell asleep. Day 2, everyone was really tired, like I said, because there was just so much to take in on day 1. And I was tired too, I'm not gonna lie. But like, this dude was snoring. Like, why was he able to stay in class? I know that they're spending a lot of money on training and whatnot, and I'm sure they're going to get a little bit of that, but that was just kind of bothersome. And then, like I said, I saw a couple girls, one like kind of like to the front of me and the right, and then one like I could see her right over, kind of in my peripheral vision, with her phone on her lap, texting and like on their phones. It was unbelievable. Everyone was very young that were acting like that. But like I said, quite a few people, I would say easily mid 50s and up. Like I said, there was a lady in her 80s. She was a real sweetheart, going to customer service. Met a guy named Mark doing the same thing. He was probably, 60 years old. Really cool guy. He's worked for the company before. It was a great experience. But more of the bad today when I had to do my exams. And people walking in late. One of the girls that was texting, she was 15 minutes late. Can you imagine that? 15 minutes late and you're going to pull out your phone and text? Like, what the? This guy, I will say this, he's in the program to represent other countries. I got to be really careful what I say here. Number one, he smelled like an ashtray. He was not dressed in business casual. I can't believe I'm going to say this. He blew his nose in his hoodie, like the bottom corner, like where the pocket is. He blew his nose in it and then rubbed the material like this to like make it dissipate, absorb it. He was on his phone multiple times, and I finally looked at the instructor. She came over and asked, "Do you need any help? Please stay off your phone." After that, like 30 minutes later, he was back on his phone. He also failed the final exam, and he was kind of freaking out a little bit, and that's a good thing, because quite honestly, like I said, I got to be really careful what I say here, but what the heck is he doing at Disney University? How did he get in? He got in because they only have X amount of people probably to pick from that can represent a certain country. I'm not going to say what the country was. There was someone else that was from that same country, and she got a job that way, and she was awesome. So nothing against that country or anything, but like I said, certain individuals were just mind-blowing that they were there. So hopefully they get weeded out. I don't want to see anything negative happen to anybody, or they blossom and they become an incredible cast member. And maybe that will happen, but I doubt it, because this guy was probably, I would say, mid-30s, 40 years old, so I don't think a lot's probably going to change with him. But that's pretty much the ugly that I have to say about the whole experience. Like when I was walking down that hall that first time with all that Disney art, I'm geeking out. Not many people were looking at the art, I think, and maybe, give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe a lot of people were just really nervous, quite honestly. But, being extroverted, I was very talkative. I was the person in class when they were asking questions. No one wanted to talk. I kept raising my hand. Finally, Danielle, she said, it was Barbara. She said, "Jeremy, let's let someone else talk." And I said, well, I was waiting, it's like, if no one else is going to wait, or if no one else is going to talk, it's like, I'll keep raising my hand. I mean, I'm enjoying this. I'm here to learn and to kick butt. So, but yeah, Disney was not what I expected in a good way. So, I really thought this video was going to be short. I'm looking at the clock on my camera and I apologize. Maybe I might have to edit this thing down. But tonight, I might end up at Gideon's. I'm not going to add that because this is like, has gotten way too long. But Jill and I are doing a twofold celebration. One for selling the house, and two for me finishing Disney University. So we are going to Port Orleans, and we have reservations for 6:30 tonight at Riverboat Boat Rights. I think what it's called. So I'm definitely going to bring my camera, and I'm definitely going to put all that into a video. So anyway, to wrap it up, I'm super excited for working for Disney. They seem awesome, and things can change. I could have a real jerk of a supervisor or whatnot, and that can just change the whole experience. But so far, I'm really impressed, and I'm really excited, and I really thank all of you for making it this far. If you were able to, I know this is probably way too long. I'll see what I can do to edit it down. I love all of you guys. I will see you real soon. Bye-bye.